here we have Laurel, and this is going to be Laurel's go home video. It's just going to be a quick run through of all of her commands. Ideally she'll mess up a time or two so you can see how we follow through, keeping it positive and successful. But she's doing really great with all of her commands. That actually is one of her commands, which we'll get to in a moment. So we're starting off with her sits and downs. So sit, we use the verbal as well as a hand gesture. The hand signal for her sit is like I'm lifting her nose to the sky. So sit, do it again. Sit, yes, good girl. I just use that if she goes to offer her trick instead of a sit. Laurel, down. Sit. Now down, I turn my hand the opposite direction in reference to the ground. Down. So we'll do those both one more time. Laurel. She's looking for free treats on the ground. This way. Yes. Sit. Down. Good girl. So next, since she's eagerly offering it, we're going to have her show you her stand and twirl command. So you can start it off pretty easy and just having her just do stand. This is not to be confused with us letting her jump or make contact. Laurel does not jump on you or make contact with your front feet. Obviously the ground's a little off kilter, so sometimes when practicing she might fall into you a little bit, but she's never jumping. If she gets excited and were to kind of backtrack with that when she comes home, you just want to use that off command, lift your knee and kind of create space. But you don't see that being an issue unless you accidentally promote or tell her to do that. So the trick she has, we'll start off with just the stand. Stand. Good girl. So that's where I just have her stand on her hind legs. Again, not to be confused with letting her make contact with me. She's on her own 2 feet and keeping her front feet to herself. Stand. Good girl. This takes a lot of core strength, so just doing good with that. Next, we kind of wanted to up the ante because that was cool, but let's do something a little cooler. We'll do stand, stand, twirl. Good girl. So you can say twirl or spin. She does it for either. Do it again. Stand, spin. Yes, good girl. And again, the ground is a little uneven, so that kind of throws off her balance a bit, but she does really well with this, especially if we're in a public setting, showing it off. Spin. Yes, good girl. The floors are flatter in public places or inside of a building, so out here it's a little harder for her, but it shows how good her core strength is. We'll do it one more time. Stand. Yes, good girl. Spin. Yes, good girl. One more, because she really loves doing that command. Ready? Laurel, stand. Spin. Oh, we're going to do it one more time. She didn't even get the treat out of it. She fell over soon. It does take a lot of energy and muscle to do this, so. Good girl. Laurel, sit. Stand. Spin. Yes, good girl. We'll call it good enough. She's doing really good with that. So that's just a fun little party trick Laurel knows and has under her belt, and it tends to get a lot of attention towards her. So next we're going to do her stay commands. Laurel, come. Sit. So I'm just going to ask her to do a sit, stay, flat open hand like a stop sign. Then I create distance. I'm not going to get too far because I want you to be able to hear my instruction in case she breaks away. She's doing really great with this, so it's very unlikely that she would break. But if she did, I'd say Even if she lays down like she's about to, that is her biggest fault with this command, is she does want to just do a down stay. So what I do is I walk over and I just gently pick her right back up into that sit, and we start over with the sit stay. Stays are structured, so they have to hold the original position. So sit, she has to stay in that seated position in that spot. If she were to get up and kind of wander away, I would guide her back with the leash or kind of scoop her up and take her back. We want to put her back in ideally the same spot, put her back into that same position just by gently putting her butt down. If she lays down, lifting her up, so on and so forth. But this is just to demonstrate follow through and that she has to hold that position until given the release word. All of these instructions also go for the down stay. Only difference is the position she'd be in a down. I can walk up and give her a treat throughout this. Good girl. And our universal release word is okay. Good girl. Good girl. I only have the leash on her because they go for their morning runs, and I just want her to be a little more focused and not be confused if we're out here to play or if we're doing a session. Sometimes we do our sessions a little later in the day to avoid confusion. She found a free treat, so I have to let her get it. Good girl. Laurel. So we'll do one more sit stay. Sit. Oops, dropped a treat. Stay. She might find those crumbs in a second. That'll be a big distraction to work through. And again, I can walk up and give her treats and praise. Good girl. Just keeping my energy nice and calm. Stay. I don't want to be too excited or exuberant and then her feed off of that. Good girl. And that universal release word of, okay. Yes. Good girl. See if I have any more treats before we continue. Yes, I do. Perfect. Oops, sorry, girlie. So next we'll do a down stay. So like I said before, all the instructions for sit stay are the same for down stay. Down. Good girl. Stay. And the same thing, you can walk up, give her treats and praise. She likes this one. She's very comfortable. She gets to be relaxed. If she went to break like that, I'd say ah. And I just guide her back. And so I just gently put her right back into a down position. Just ever so gently. Down. I want to wait till she goes into a proper down position like that. Stay. If her feet are up in the air and she's in belly rub position, that's not a proper down and she's not taking you very serious. So we want to set her up for success. So now you get to see a follow through with that one. Stay. Turn my back to her, change your body language. Good girl. Okay. Good girl. Good. So next I'm going to grab this towel. We're going to utilize this because it is different than what she's used to using, which is good. We want her to be able to do the place command with any type of material as the place itself. She's looking for treats. This way, come on. Good girl. So I'm going to lay this out, and you can use a dog bed, you can use a blanket, you can use elevated beds or plushed, like stuffed beds. There are so many different types of materials you can use for this, and I'm just going to utilize a towel because it's different, and so she might mess up more, whereas if I use something she's really comfortable with, she'll of course hold it much better. So just to change it up, kind of show you how good she's doing. She's already offering the command, so I'm going to get her off there real quick. So the whole point is I want a reference to the bed. I want Laurel to go on there and just be content. She can sit, lay down, lay on her back. She can do jumping jacks as long as she doesn't come off the blanket. Toes hanging over the edge or a little bit of paw hanging over is fine as long as she's not army crawling off. So I'll just reference to it. I don't even give her commands while she's in there, so you won't see me telling her sit or down or anything like that. I just want her on the towel, blanket, bed, whatever it may be. She goes to step off, I'm just going to use an Again, this is a different material. So this is going to be very similar to when you take her home and you're doing place with her the first time. You'll see her doing it really, really well here, and then she might kind of test the boundaries when she first comes home, or she's just unsure if it's the same thing she was doing here, especially if the bed or material is different. So by doing it and being ready to follow through, I just use that and I guide her back on there, or when she was really little, we used to pick her up and put her right back on. And that's how we demonstrate follow through. It's important to note that if she steps off 5 times, I have to put her back on there 5 times. Same if she did it 10 times. Every time you give up, she just knows that's how much it takes for her to not have to do it. So. Good girl. So I used that, she stopped herself and like self-corrected, didn't come off the blanket or towel, and so that's why I rewarded. Now when she does come off and breaks away prematurely, you won't see me giving her treats or praise. I don't want to reward her breaking away. That's the same thing for sits. These commands are very similar. The only difference is stays are structured, place is more of a relaxed command, and she can kind of just do whatever she wants to. As long as she's still on there, of course. Walk up and give her treats and praise. Same thing though. I want to have nice calm energy when rewarding her. Okay. Yes, good girl. So we'll do this again. Laurel, place. Yes. Good girl. She has great handler focus. Again, turning the back to her, change of body language. It's kind of a vulnerable position. So a young dog or puppy might be like, well, maybe I can break away when her back is to me. Laurel knows the drill. She's doing really great. There's our side by side. That's a really big distraction for her to work through because she's used to following that for her morning exercise. I'm going to give her that universal release word of, okay. Good girl. I just want to make sure I had her attention before I gave that release. Okay. So now we're going to end this part of our session with a sit and a down. We want to always end on a good note with what we're working on, which she did. She's even offering it again. But then we also want it to be that we end on a good note with that and something really strong. So her sit and down commands that are her strongest. We want to end with those and it be a really good last memory of training. This way she looks forward to next time. If it's a negative experience or she doesn't enjoy her training session, then she's not going to want to follow through with the next session. Sit, down. Good girl. And we'll do one more sit. Laurel. Sit. Good girl. You know, why not? We'll end with a stand. Stand. Good girl. Spin. Good girl. And lots of praise. So this is Laurel's go home video. As I mentioned at the beginning, stay tuned and you can watch her doing her kennel and wait. We're just going to go inside and do that there. So that's Laurel's go home video. And she's such a fun puppy to work with and I truly have enjoyed the journey with her. So that's Laurel. Kennel. Good girl. Wait. Okay. Good girl. So for this part of Laurel's video, we're going to do her kennel and wait. Don't mind any of our buddies in the background. They're a little jealous. So might get a little vocal, but they're just being dogs. So I'm going to have Laurel come all the way out. She's a little tingling. So maybe that's why she's moving. So we start off by taking a treat. You can toss her right in, tell her your kennel. Good girl. Close her on in there. Of course, you would not crate her with a leash. I only have her leash because there's other dogs in the room. So then I would tell her wait once she's finished eating that treat. If she were chewing on the toys, I would make a noise to get her to look at me, get her attention, and then I give her that wait command and the release word of okay. Close her on in there. You can also do the toy method. You can also do the toy method, and that's where you use the toy instead of the treat when you toss it in there. Same thing though, you would just want to make sure you got her attention before, so wait. Okay, good girl. Laurel should always be creative with something to help the time pass quicker. 5 minutes without a toy feels like 5 hours, but if it's the other way around, 5 hours could feel like 5 minutes if she has a toy. So, and you can also do long-term treats. Great safe toys are things like rubber toys. Kong toys are really great. Nothing stuffing, no rope toys, and no tennis balls, because those can all be a potential hazard. So I wouldn't recommend creating her with anything like that. But we do the elevated beds, or we just do a regular bed in the crate, and sometimes we even do the liner or like a sheet like this. So just something to put between Laurel and the crate to set her up for the best success with joint and hip health down the road. So I'll give her that weight. We also use the weight command when coming out of the door, going across the street, or coming out of the car. Okay. Good girl. We'll do it one more time. This way. Again, I would not crate her with a leash. We're just doing that to keep her close, because she's going to want to go play with her other puppy friends. Wait. Okay. Good girl. And as always, we're going to end with a quick sit. Sit. Nice. Good girl. And lots of praise. So this is the end of Laurel's go home video. She's such a good girl. She did so well with her basic obedience. And again, this has been a fun adventure with her. So, good girl.